Welcome to the Warren Andrew Pinder podcast with your host, Warren Andrew Pinder, author and speaker.
Hi, welcome to the Warren Andrew Pinder Show. I'm Warren Andrew Pinder, a coach, mentor, best-selling author, and I'm on a mission to help young men and fathers become all that God created them to be and make a difference in the world. This is something I lived in my life. At the age of 18, my father died. It was at that time where I needed guidance, someone to stand by me. I vividly remember the last conversation that he and I had on a trip home from his medical care in Florida. I took him to the beach where we sat and talked, and he, with tears rolling down his eyes, said to me, "Warren, when I get better, you and I are going to go and open a business where we'll make souvenirs to sell to the many tourists that visit the shores of Nassau." That never was meant to be because he died months later. But this has inspired me to really speak to young men and women that they get to understand the purpose and the true need of looking up to someone. In my book, I wrote, one of the exciting things about life is the role of the elder. They're expected to guide young men. Those men today are known as role models. However, outside of the professional role as a counselor, teacher, preacher, they are hard to find. What happens when a young man has completed his institutional learning and these professionals are no longer in their lives? Who will they have to look up to? I remember when I was teaching carpentry to young men between the ages of 17 to 18 who had just finished high school. I observed the need to fill a void in their lives of these students, guiding and mentoring them to become achievers. Mentorship is a very serious undertaking. We identify that it's lacking, that successful men oftentimes outside of their immediate family seek not to turn back in a group setting to lift up those young men that they may see on the street. We have a void there where at night there are so many persons that don't know where to turn or who to talk to. I recalled speaking to a young man recently who said to me that he had done 5 years in jail for murder. At the age of 16, he had committed a crime that he was granted mercy on. But he didn't know where to go. He had no one to turn to, no one to talk to about how to break that malicious cycle. Fortunately, I had spoken to another young man, a friend of his, who I had offered the job to. And in doing so, I spoke with him and said to him that, I was leery about, him coming, but he had to prove to me that he was serious and that he saw the need to work. 3 months had passed and he stayed on the job, and he brought his friend, as I said, to the job. And recently we spoke and, we started to set mentorship circle setting and explain that how he feels so good about what he was doing, that he was just on the block. He was in need of having to become dependent on others to provide a simple meal. He was sleeping hard, as he said. But the mere fact that I tried to, at that point, step in as a mentor. And I give you this example to say what, mentorship can do. But because I did not just offer him a job or, as you would say, try and just give him a way to make some funds, I began to give him words of advice and wisdom that it matters not where he starts or what he's doing, that he needs to seek inside himself and understand that there are trades there are opportunities for school, there are opportunities to work as a helper, YouTube. There are many platforms on the internet, short courses out there that, one can take. So when we put together a young man's desire and need with the expertise from someone like myself or an expert in another field, that is when we marry and fulfill that gap that young men are looking for. A lot of times it's not from their parents. They look up to their parents, but the environment they grow up in oftentimes pose a problem. A lot of times a female heads the home, or an abusive father, the adults around them are not good role models or examples to be mentors. So for me, the path that I've taken and what I am trying to accomplish here is that despite the difficulties in life, there's hope. And all we need to do is just look around. Your mentor can be someone that you emulate on a movie scene, but go do the research. Find out what they're really about. Don't let it be fiction. A script is written, person follows that script. But look for someone that can hold your hand, that you can read about, that they're accessible. You need to be able to find someone that has the ear to listen to you, that has the time, even if it's only 10 minutes, to be able to guide you through that issue that you are trying to overcome. Seek out someone that you know is family oriented, a man of God, hardworking, someone that you know that when you see them, they are reliable. These are what will lead you and inspire you to be better than even the mentor that you seek advice from. So this show is to help to bring awareness. And in doing so, I hope that others that listen, that there are men around the world that will pick up the mantle and begin to do the same. That young men who are lost or are in need of good words of advice will listen in as we go weekly speaking of topics that are dear and close to them. Life is this cycle. And the good thing about life is that there is not much that has not happened before. So you will be surprised to know that the person that you're speaking to may have gone through some of the very same things that you are going through. What better scenario could you find? Because time changes, but the script remains the same. So when we are out there, and there's an array of topics that we're going to discuss on this show. In my book, Achieve Men, we wrote it to unleash the power within young men to achieve their dreams and impact the world. If you consider what can you do to impact the world, do you feel it's something that deep in your heart you can answer that question? You can do it if it's only one person at a time. See, when lives get rough and questions can't be answered and you feel like you're lost and you see others around you are going ahead, but you gravitate to wanting to go with that crowd, a lot of times you have to sit back and look within and understand that from within, you have to chart the course that you want for your life. You have to begin to question, am I happy where I am now? What is it? Where do I want to go? So I just bring this platform and, online mentorship to you. I use my book Achievement as a tool. There are 7 steps of a systematic concept written in the book that will help young men and women to achieve their goals, dreams, aspirations, simply by taking action, using the acronyms of the word achieve. A, you want to take action. C, you want to chart a course. H is the hurdles that we have and will encounter daily. I is for intensifying everything that you do. E is for the effort that you have to put in to achieving what it is you want. V stands for the values of hard work, the values of simply being respectful to everyone around you. And if you follow the 6 preceding steps. The last one is to earn. You will earn what it is you hope to achieve and accomplish. So the Warren Andrew Pinder podcast show is an opportunity for me to help as many as may listen, and to you that are listening to take from words of advice from myself and others that I would invite with particular expertise and experiences that can help to grow a tribe of men and women to do and to achieve through this online mentorship. My mentors were Bismarck Coakley, who was my former boss, whom I succeeded as vice president of Arawak Homes Limited. Franklin Wilson, whom today I look up to as a father figure, as a caring man with a wealth of knowledge that is accessible to all who seek to gain the advice that he can share. And believe it or not, I had a very close friend whom stayed with me and made sure that even though we had decisions to make, the decisions that he would ensure that I make during the time, as I said, my father was not around. He encouraged me to get the homework done before we go out to play. He encouraged me to always listen to our parents, who was like, we literally grew up in a community that was of a village where we understood and appreciated the fact that another parent could give you a little wailing if you were, to step out of line. But having a friend like Dion was, a good mentor as well. But, where I am in my field, I can tell you about Mr. Bismarck Oakley, now deceased. But it was not a moment that he would not sit and share or encourage me to be the best that I possibly could be. In many ways, sometimes mentorship may go beyond that of a professional level, but as simply the words from him he would always say, family is all you got. Take care of your family. So his legacy for many in the Bahamas is great.
Thank you for joining today's podcast. We'll be right back.
Achieve Men, written by Warren Andrew Pinder. In this book, you will learn the 7 steps to achieving your dreams and goals. Given the vision to share how the acronym of the word achieve can be used systematically in your day-to-day life. Each of us is given a unique gift from God. Get your copy today. Available in print, ebook, and audiobook from Amazon.
We now return to today's podcast.
I've known many leaders in our community, even personally as a child, knowing, a prime minister, a man who became a prime minister that would have spent time in my grandmother's kitchen, and, down to many priests, because my homestead was directly behind the church that I attended. My parents oftentimes cooked breakfast in between services, between the 7:30 and the 10:30 service. The priest would come over to our home and have breakfast. Even whenever the bishop came, my father would cook, or bake chocolate fudge. So I saw where what I spoke about earlier, the respect for persons that you look up to. And that's the trick about a mentor, Don't look up to a person because he's driving, a fresh ride, or he's wearing, nice clothes and he's living in a nice home. Look at what they're doing externally to help the community. Seek persons that are involved with community services. I am the president of the Scout Association of the Bahamas. And in my role, it is to keep, the association going. And we have persons on the executive committee, we have two leaders that have been around collectively for more than 120 years. Can you imagine a person putting his time and effort into an association, an organization for 64 years? In my time, I have experienced that. There are two persons in the name of John Philport and Mr. Alec Gibson that have touched so many lives. Can you imagine? They're in their 80s and they're still reaching out to help the young men of our nation. And there are many persons around the world. And that is why I said in the paragraph that I read, the role of the elders. You know, you would have seen where persons would have gone to the elders of the tribe to speak to them to resolve conflicts. Well, today we have lawyers and psychiatrists and priests and everyone that persons go to. But still, don't forget that man that's sitting there at age 80 with no one to talk to at this time, or that lady that's sitting there, do you can imagine that if you just flip the script for a minute and you go and you were to help that man, do you think that he may be lonely just having to sit there day by day? Or help that old lady just do a chore? But do you know what possibly you may be able to gain? And all of this is getting right back to respecting our elders and what they have to offer. Some may be grouchy, some may be miserable and not welcoming and so. But they need you just as much as you need their wisdom. Because that's one thing for sure. If God gives them life to be able to live past 70 years, they would have gone through a lot. And the things that you're going through, they may be able to coin it in another way because they have seen not just you going through it, but they may have seen their children go through it, their neighbors, and so many others. So this is where I'm trying to get at, and, you know, God bless his heart. I thank Mr. Coakley. I thank Sir Franklin Wilson for always having that open door, and the many others around that I was able, that has me sitting behind this mic today, knowing that everyone needs someone to guide them through. When you reach out to a mentor, what will you get from a mentor? You get someone that's willing to listen. A mentor will possibly open doors for you. They may know persons that can, because they are working with you and they know your desire, they know that you are credible and you want to achieve. They may go above and beyond and place you somewhere where you never dreamt you could go. They definitely can write a recommendation for you. A mentor will be that voice in the back of your head when you're alone and when you are going through things and you start to think about what would it be that mentor would have taught you or would expect you to do. Why do I feel the need to have a mentor? Simply, I think that each person should sort out a mentor in their life. A mentor will make them accountable. When you go and you are approaching someone to ask them about things that you are eager and willing to learn and want to, do better for yourself. So when you make this approach, you're not going to let that person down. If that mentor opens up to you and he begins to express to you that he has faith in you, that he believes in you, one of the last things that you're going to want to do is to let him down. So if you have a mentor and you become friends and a mentor calls you, how is that project going? How is the family? How you doing? You taking time for yourself? What's your goal? What are you planning? What are you planning to do? How is your siblings? How is your mother? Those questions that I just recited were questions that my mentor would oftentimes ask me. So that is what you get. You get the dialogue from someone that cares for you, that someone is willing to work and help you. That's a great feeling, knowing So it's just open yourself and literally, you do the research. What do you want? There are persons out there who are willing to help. You can get a copy of my book, Achieve Man. In it, again, I write about the steps and the 7 systematic steps of the acronym from the word achieve. And I've given examples, even scriptures, to let you know that each of us, God has a purpose, a greater gift for us to be beyond where we are. And if it means that we have to reach out to a mentor to help us to get and fulfill that purpose, and how on this show we want to lead you and teach you. You've been listening to the Warren Andrew Pinder podcast show, where week by week we will be bringing topics of mentorship to young men, women, some older, and those who are stuck with where are they going. This is the show to be here to listen as we reach out to experts in different areas, different careers. We're going to try and find some that just simply care to share their life experiences in order to help others. You've been listening to the Warren Andrew Pinder podcast show. Always remember, in life, you must take action.
Thank you for listening to the Warren Andrew Pinder podcast. We hope you were encouraged and moved to take action. For more information about Warren Andrew Pinder and his book, Achieve Men, visit www.warrenandrewpinder.com.